Hello everybody, welcome back to Insane Brit Gaming. I'm the Insane Brit, and today's article I'm going to be reading about is anime industry in crisis. Japan's anime industry in crisis even as its popularity soars. Um, Japan's booming animation industry is in crisis with low pay, long hours, and a huge shortage of artists, just as its global popularity has never been higher. 3 of the 10 feature films running for the top prize at the world's most important animation festival at Annecy in France, which ended Saturday, are from Japan. So that's 3 out of 10, that's not bad. The country is the only real challenger to Hollywood's dominance of the labor-intensive genre. I assume they're talking about Pixar, which I don't really consider. Though they're animating studios and they tell interesting stories, they're not as consistent as Japan's animation studio, who keep knocking out those animes at rapid pace, let's be honest, and far more interesting stories. But hey, maybe that's just me being biased, other than maybe The Lion King, which is great. But hey, or Toy Story actually, Toy Story 4 hit, and they got mainstream in the West anyway, so and it goes global. So it's Hollywood, for goodness sake. They got the money to do it. Where often enough they are competing with smaller anime studios in Japan, who only get their marketplace often only hits Japan and sometimes the West if they're lucky enough, in an overcrowded marketplace. That's my general opinion. But the Japanese anime seem to be threatening to loosen the Pixar and Disney grip on the popular imagination, with the likes of a teen mega hit, Your Name, and a Nintendo Super Mario movie in the pipeline. Long-running structural problems are in danger of sapping its rise. With talk of talent shortage, its greatest star, legendary Studio Ghibli founder Hayao Miyazaki, has come out of retirement at 78 to make How Do You Live, which may be released next year, with speculation that he could take on another feature film if his health holds up. He's an old man now, he did retire in 2013. Miyazaki blazed the art house trail with such animated classics as Oscar-winning Spirited Away, great anime, I've seen that. Howl's Moving Castle, I've seen that, it's great. And the fabulous My Neighbor Totoro, which I thought was okay, but I didn't think it was his best work. But there you go. It wasn't my favorite, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But Yushi Nishimura, a former Mizuki stalwart, or is that trying to say Stuart? A student? I don't know. Stalwart or whatever, who produced the Oscar-winning The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, told AFP that the industry was struggling to face up to its lack of animators, bad working conditions, and perhaps a lack of creativity. His peers also complain of low pay and a lack of emerging young talent, plus burnout in an overworked animation teams who often put in 12 to 18-hour days. Now, a lot of those problems are, now a lot of those people do that out of passion, 12 to 18-hour days, but as soon enough that's going to grind on you, plus the lack of crappy wages. They probably feel the need to do those kind of hours in the industry that they work because of the low pay. That's probably due to labor laws not caught up with the rest of the world, and poor working conditions to help protect those animators. So Japan really has to get on that. Rising star Kuchihara, who showed a new film, The Wonderland, in Annecy after winning the jury prize there 4 years ago with Miss Hakushu, feared for the future. Perhaps the biggest problem in the Japanese animation industry is that there is no more young animators, he warned. Anumo Watabe, whose beautiful The Children of the Sea was shown out of competition at the festival, worried about visual standardization and a lack of originality, not helped by the fact that fewer and fewer animators can draw well by hand. Everything's done by computer these days, including the coloring. So you're getting a lack of those skills are dying out with as the industry moves forward with technology. It's just a skill, but it's very rare these days, and they're probably not teaching it. Even industry heavyweights like Muru Hosoda, the genius behind Wolf Children, The Boy and the Beast, and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, have put in punishingly long hours with relatively tiny teams. He told AFP last year that his latest hit, Mura, was inspired by his wife, complaining that she was a widow to his work, calling him to account for leaving her to bring up their son on her own. That she was complaining that she was always alone and she had to bring up their son by himself, never seeing him. Watabe said that the industry has split into 2 extremes: big productions who can call on an incredible number of animators, and at the other end of the scale, and more artistic projects that have a lot less money. Well, it seems like you've got the big budgets companies like EA. It's the same in the gaming industry as well, like EA. And then you've got the small indie teams, the type that I think created Cuphead, for example. Small teams trying to be different, trying to be creative, competing with the big boys. And in an overcrowded marketplace, if you look at the likes of any industry, if you look at gaming and anime, those are two perfect similarities there, because you've got the smaller teams trying to break out, but there are just so many. If you go on Xbox and you see the indie teams, there's like 50 games. Am I going to go through 50 games? Fuck no. Am I going to play all 50 games? Fuck no. Go through Steam, same thing. Big games promoted, smaller games. There's just so many of them. There might be great games out there, like there's great animes out there, but in an overcrowded marketplace, when you go onto an anime website, there are hundreds of animes subbed and dubbed to pick from. It's unreal. So, you know, to compete with each other in an overcrowded marketplace, potentially it's just there in anime specifically. Some of them subbed, some of them are dubbed, and there are just loads that are there that, you know, you're not going to be able to shift through everything. No one's got that kind of amount of time, so it is what it is. So it's kind of like the indie teams versus the big productions, and so that's more or less standard of these days, I feel. Unless you've got something really special, and people catch on, it has to be promoted well, which again costs money. So yeah, blah blah blah. Let me just a lot of All Eyes later this year will be on the release of Weathering with You, Mataku Shinku's fantasy follow-up to the record-breaking Your Name, who now the highest-grossing Japanese film of all time. I can't remember how much it made. I did know a few months back or last year. Its production team unveiled a sneak preview of the supernatural story at Annecy, with a high school runaway meeting a girl who can change the weather. Doesn't sound that interesting. The high school runaway sounded cool. Met a girl was cool. Can change the weather? What? I don't know. With a live-action version of Your Name in the works, US Television about to remake the cult Japanese series Train Man about an anime-obsessed youth, the genre has never been closer to the international mainstream. Nishimura said that he tried to keep the Ghibli style and spirit going with a mix of hand-drawn and computer animation at Studio Ponoko, whatever, which he set up after Mizuki, a heavy smoker who was having health problems, first hung up his pencil in 2013. It scored its first hit in 2017 with Mary and the Witch's Flower, and Nishimura premiered the series of new shorts at Annecy. For him, the industry woes are a result of accumulation of problems over the last 5 to 10 years, but he insisted his studio was trying to create a new environment. And as the wowed audiences at Annecy for Mizuki Yusu's touching Ride Your Wave proved, despite its problems, and Japanese anime can still get things very right. The story of love surfing and grief struck a huge chord with critics at the French festival. Emile Lacombe, whose company Eurozoom is a key French animation distributor, said that the industry travails are due to its rapid growth, and now we are in a period of adjustment. She believes that the Japanese authorities are waking up to the anime's importance of global reach as an export force, and that is the absolute truth. The anime industry as a whole in Japan is an actual growth area. It can really get bigger and better and be great for their tourism, and it is a great export market for their country. If you look at most people or Westerners that go to Japan or have an interest in Japan, they will say the following things. They will say, oh, anime got me into Japan. I always liked Japan. It's very tech, you know, futuristic, all that kind of stuff. Great things happening here in the country. The culture is very nice. The women are beautiful. And, you know, it's those kind of similarities there. Like those couple of things. It's like the food, the women, the animation, or the tech. Those four things. Or maybe just the culture in that kind of like, you know, but how did they get into the culture? A lot of people get exposed to Japanese culture by anime and inspired by them. You know, even as a very young age, if it's not a Nintendo, like gaming in that respect as well, that's another gateway into it, how they export, you know, their kind of industry out into the world. Japanese style games do very well over here in the West. I think Jump Force was one of them. Tons of characters and stuff like that, fighting games. you know, it's a great export market for them, and I like to see them. And I like the fact that she said that they are starting to wake up to it because it is important to their industry. It gets people visiting their country, tourism, and it promotes their country. It really is, and it can go far and wide, telling way more and far interesting stories than Pixar can. I know Pixar and Disney can tell great stories, but in respects to anime, it's just unbelievable some of the stuff they come up with sometimes, you know, and that's why they're so fascinating because there's so many stories and things that you think, what, this is weird, only in Japan that would happen, and yeah, it fascinates a lot of people. So most people who are into Japan or anything like that would always say or mention something about anime, at least I suspect. Um, and there's a few ways, and this gets me on to possibly a rant section of this video because we've spoken about the article now. And I want to touch on, like I said, the labour laws are probably a little bit behind at the times. And like you said, that guy was trying to change the culture. But there's always something called crunch time in the gaming world and the anime world where you've got to get something out. And it's always hitting that deadline. You've got to hit that deadline because the money's running out and all the rest of it, whether it be a lack of funding where animation companies or gaming companies, for example, run out of money. I think it don't happen too much with the gaming as much as it does anime maybe, but sometimes they just don't have the funding to support it. Often enough, it starts with a manga online and people love it. It gets popular. Someone goes, this is really popular. Attack on Titan was one of them. They picked it up and said, okay, let's run with it and make an anime out of this. And that's how it goes. So the story gets told on the internet long before the anime comes out. And then they've got to dub it in Japan and then whatever else. And then an American company will pick it up and we'll go, okay, we'll support this or we'll pay for the dubbing if we can collect money on it. Just bring it over, we'll dub it, and then we'll port it out and see how it goes, kind of thing. And that brings me to another issue. There's a couple of issues with anime in today's world. It has gotten a lot better. Before, there was one or two companies doing this. And then basically they would buy the licenses and they would keep them. And they would keep them and keep them and keep them, or maybe they would release them, but they didn't put them out. They put them out in the USA, and even today there's some that I want to buy who's in the USA, but they're not in the UK, which really, really fucks me off. I want to buy the anime, but I can't because it's in the USA, and unless I buy a separate Blu-ray player, which plays their thing, and I don't want to do that, it'll piss me off. I want them to hurry up and port it to the UK, which they don't do, or they take forever to. Now, that has gotten better recently, and I think that's due to the fact that there's a couple more companies that are now doing it, so it's not one or two companies doing it. There's not only Funimation, there's Madman Entertainment, I believe, and there's a bunch of others that actually are doing this now, competing with them, buying up the licenses and saying dubbing it and putting it out there, which is good because then that means we get more anime, and then certain companies have to get their ass in gear and hurry up and do their fucking job instead of pissing around with it, taking forever. Like I said, it's good that it's gone into mainstream and then more companies are about there to dub those animes for us. Like I said, a lot of the time I don't understand it. They've dubbed the anime and they don't put it out to the UK or maybe Europe. They just leave it in the USA, which didn't make sense to me. It took me 10 years to get Death Note on Blu-ray, which I'm an avid fan of Death Note, and I had to wait that long to get it on Blu-ray. It's absolutely ridiculous. I do tweet companies, and I was tweeting them, and a company said to me, I don't know who it was, I think it was Madman Entertainment, I don't know. They basically ported an anime, and it was on DVD, right? I ported it on DVD and it was available to me for me to buy on DVD. I said, when's it coming out on Blu-ray? I want to buy it on Blu-ray, obviously. They go, oh, well, basically we're going to be selling it on DVD, and if it sells well enough, we will port it to Blu-ray. What? That doesn't make fucking sense. So you're going to sell it on DVD. If it sells well, in other words, if I buy it and multiple people buy it on DVD, you're then going to move it to Blu-ray? So I got to buy it again. No fucking logic. No fucking logic in that. Doesn't make sense. In that case, I won't bother buying it and I'll fucking wait. I'm not giving you lots of money, you dickheads. It doesn't make logical sense. I'd rather you scrap the DVD version and just put it on Blu-ray. And then that way, you're not having to fuck around with DVD, porting it in DVD, having more plastic in the DVD cases and everything, just putting it in Blu-ray, one-time thing, and then selling it to me, and you get your money. Another thing that they do, which really winds me up, these companies, if they're not pulling it to the UK and everything, or even if they are, they do it in parts. Now, this was a 2004 thing, right until 2008, and they're even doing it today. They're trying to do the old part one. Sword Art Online is a perfect example of this. part 1, £25, 4 episodes, 5 episodes, some shit. Or maybe they're even doing 8 episodes, I don't know. And then they're sending me part 2. Well, that's another 8 episodes, that's 16 episodes. Part 3 and 4. Are you taking the fucking piss? I haven't got that much space to store it all. Not only that, you're charging me £25 a pop. That's, what, 50 quid for part 1 and 2, and then the other 2, that's like 100 quid. 100 quid for one anime season. You're taking the fucking piss. Now, most companies back in the day, in the early 2000s, were doing £20. So that's 20, 40, £60, 3 parts on average, right? Or whatever, right? So £60 for an anime. I paid 50 quid or maybe even 60 for Full Metal Alchemist on Blu-ray. I mean on DVD, right? When it came out, before Blu-ray, proper Blu-ray came out. And that was more or less, what, £1 an episode? But that was 60 episodes. I paid 50, 60 quid. Great, that was good, that makes sense. I had it in one box, I paid 60 quid and I got a full season. That's, you know, the math, you know, so when I'm looking at your parts 1 to 4 and shit and paying 25 quid, why am I paying fucking 100 quid for your shit? Give me one box. I don't understand it, because season 1 of Sword Art Online is in one box and cost me 25, 30 quid. Perfect, brilliant, great anime. Got it in one collection, loved it, not a problem. Do that with season 2 and I'll buy it. But you're not. You're fucking around like dickheads. And it's not all that bullshit about, oh, well, we've got to put it out there. And if people buy it, we do number 2. We're not fucking dumb. We want it in one collection. Do it in one collection, we buy it. And charge us 50 quid. It doesn't matter. As long as we get it in one collection, we know that that's the standard cost of the anime as a whole, if you want to do that to make your money back. But selling it in parts does not inspire me to go out and buy it. It tells me, fuck you, I'll rather wait. And I'm left here sitting here waiting. But of course, that's my choice. You can argue it is what it is. But those are some of the annoying things. They don't, they have the licenses and they dub it and leave it in the USA, but don't port it to other markets so we can buy it when my money's sitting here waiting. That's 1. 2, they don't put it on Blu-ray, and they think we're going to fuck around buying it on DVD and then put it on Blu-ray. You're dumb. And the third thing is breaking it up into different sections, into different pieces is bullshit, and I refuse to play that game anymore. Fuck you. So whatever, get your shit together is what I say. Now, that's my general opinion. Those are 3 big problems I have with anime. I'm even getting a bit annoyed at having to spend £40 on a special edition and £40 for the other special edition part, which is fucking 90 quid I'm paying out for special editions now, parts 1 and 2. I'm not fucking doing that anymore. I'm going to buy one special edition if I like your anime enough or think it's good enough, and then I will buy the basic one maybe. Just on principle. I'm still giving you money, I'm still helping support the industry, but I can't, I mean, look, I personally can't afford that kind of money. £90 for one anime is a bit ridiculous, when I could be buying brand new games for that kind of price, you know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous. I'm getting annoyed with doing it myself personally, so I will always support the industry, but at the same time, those practices have to stop, and you're pissing me the fuck off. So anyway, in conclusion, guys, to wrap this video up, how can you support the anime industry? Well, I would suggest simply, I mean, I do a number of things, but small and big, but I'll get into that in a second. So first and foremost, a lot of people watch the streaming services, Funimation being one of them, and a bunch of other websites out there, but especially the ones that you pay for. And I mention those because you're directly supporting that streaming service to keep them investing money into buying new licenses, into having them dubbed, and to keep that website running. And I think that's very, very important. So if you do that, subbed or dubbed, great. Thank you so much for doing that. I personally don't do that. I could do that, but I choose not to. A lot of them are subbed anyway, and I prefer to wait for dubbed, so I just prefer not to invest the money into it, and I'll simply wait. And when that anime comes out, I'll pay the money, £25, £40, when that anime comes out on Blu-ray and whatever else, and then I get to support the industry that way because I prefer collecting my anime. If you look back there, I've been collecting anime since 2004 or whatever, but I didn't have internet back then like I do now and everything. I got internet in 2009, so very late on, so I'd look at release dates of animes. They wouldn't come out and I wouldn't know a whole lot of information about them. Now I can watch animes practically for free if I wanted to, and all the rest of it. There's a lot more information now on the internet and stuff now. Well, I've got the internet, I can look at all of that, all the rest of it. And right now, so if you might as well say, in 2004, I've seen a lot of anime. Started off with Ghost in the Shell and Tank Police. Maybe Pokemon you can say, but I don't really see that as an anime, even though technically it is. Basically, I've been collecting anime, and I think that anime there, that shelf from the top to the bottom there, that 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves of anime. There may be some in the cupboard as well. But basically, that's about £1,400 worth of anime. £1,400 worth of anime. But that's been since 2004, something like that. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then another, yeah, well, that's 6 years, and then another, yeah, another 10 years, isn't it? Yeah. 9 going 10. That's 16 years now I have been collecting anime for. But they don't, but it just goes to show you, I've only got 4 shelves full and maybe a little bit in the cupboard. But that is because they're not coming out fast enough. They take too long. Now, recently, in recent weeks and months, they've gotten better at coming out. They're coming out a lot faster, thank God. And, you know, I can buy them. They're in the know, and whatever else. So that's what the way I support them. I buy the anime. So I suggest the ones you do love, you buy them. If you want to support that streaming service, do that. My friend Chaos does the streaming, and he buys them as well if he likes them enough, which it makes perfect sense to me. I watch them on Netflix as well, especially if they're dubbed. That's the way I support their anime as well, through the streaming. Technically, you know, if there's an anime on there, I'll watch it. I'll see what it's like, and then I'll discuss it with my friend or whatever. If I love it enough, I will buy it and then review it for you guys. The other way that I support the industry as well, a little bit, I say support it. It's just doing something I enjoy doing anyway. So whatever, and if it helps, it helps. If people like my opinion, they like my opinion and like what I like, then hopefully they trust my word. But I basically buy the anime, I'll unbox it for you, and then I do a review of it. I've only got 12 of those thus far on my channel, and I hope to do more. The latest one being Overlord. I wasn't very happy with where that one came out, that review. It was not very well structured, and I've got to get back to structuring it properly. But I've been doing that over the past couple of months, and I will continue to do that. And some of them got a lot of views, 300 views, 400 views here and there. Some of them are old. Whatever, it is what it is, but then again, it does take a long time to come out. But if people watch that and they get entertained by it, and they know the story, and they get my thoughts and opinions on it, then and if it helps you decide to buy it or even watch it, then that's something, you know what I mean? Or see what you get in the special packaging or whatever it is. I don't know. It's up to you. But guys, that's the way I support the industry. I watch it on Netflix. I buy the anime, and I unbox it and review it for you and then tell you my thoughts and opinions on it. That is the way I support the industry in that respect. So yeah, that is a way of helping the industry, and hopefully that industry grows, and the government puts in grants maybe for people to go into animation in their country to keep that running. And I'd like to see that happen more and more in the future. Hopefully they decide to do that to help support their export market, and hopefully these companies now with more competitors are not just going to hold back and keep sitting on anime without dubbing it, or if they've dubbed it, not porting it to the UK or the rest of the world. Doesn't make fucking sense. My money's waiting here. That is my message. The money's out there. You just have to port it, and some will buy, some won't. But that is just the way it is. If you want that chance of having that money, more money around the world in this global kind of world, you know what I mean? The way it is now, everything's connected. Then port the fucker, and people will buy it. You know what I mean? There you go. That is just the way it is. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and my opinions on it. And hopefully the Japanese will support the industry a lot more. I hope we will continue to support it, giving money through those streaming services, through buying the anime, and you know, making this industry grow stronger. Hopefully more people get into animation, and I'd like to think so. But if they need more support, especially in Japan, then I hope to God the government gives them that support to help thrive that industry, to help export and promote their own country and culture across the world. And it's not a bad thing. You know, it's I like a lot about Japan. Like I said, the couple of things I mentioned earlier, but hey, that's just my opinion. It may not be yours. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check out my anime reviews on some of the ones like Overlord or Sword Art Online. Did I do a Sword Art Online one? I'm not even too sure. I think I did. And Heaven's Lost Property. And hopefully I'll have a few more anime unboxings and reviews coming up over the next few weeks, depending. Anyway, guys, I will see you next time. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Donate to me via PayPal to help run this channel. I can invest it in more anime. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.